Welcome to Conspiracist. Today, we're undertaking a deep dive into a really persistent hypothesis. The idea that governments have, intentionally concealed evidence surrounding the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle.
That specific area, yeah. Roughly, Miami, Bermuda, Puerto Rico.
Exactly. It's linked to so many disappearances and just a whole range of speculative explanations.
Absolutely.
So our objective today is to conduct a strictly professional, objective evaluation. We're looking at the claims of a cover-up based on the information we have.
Right. Sticking to the evidence presented for and against that specific idea. The narrative itself has evolved quite a bit over time.
It really has.
I mean, you hear anecdotal accounts way back before the 20th century even.
Like the USS General Gates, 1780 sometimes mentioned?
That's one, yeah. But the whole Bermuda Triangle legend really cemented itself, I'd say, in the latter half of the last century.
When did the actual term come about?
Bermuda Triangle, specifically.
Yeah.
That gained traction after Vincent Gaddis wrote about it in 1964. He was suggesting supernatural elements were involved.
Okay, so Gaddis brought in the supernatural angle.
And then Charles Berlitz really popularized it further in 1974. His work went into, let's say, more fantastical explanations, aliens, Atlantis, that sort of thing.
Right, Berlitz definitely pushed the more exotic theories. But one case always comes up, doesn't it? Flight 19.
Oh, absolutely. December 1945. It's central to the lore and definitely a focal point for these cover-up theories.
5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers on a training mission.
And crucially, the Mariner rescue plane sent to find them also vanished.
The flight leader, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, reported issues, right? Compass problems, disorientation.
That's what the reports say. But before they lost contact, yes. Compass malfunctions, feeling lost.
And the most striking thing, no identifiable wreckage, not from the Avengers, not from the Mariners, ever definitively recovered.
And that absence of physical proof is precisely what proponents of a cover-up seize upon. They see it as, suspicious, indicative of something being hidden.
Okay, so let's dig into that. The specific claims of concealed evidence. What exactly do people think is being hidden or suppressed?
Well, the lack of wreckage from Flight 19, as we said, that's probably the cornerstone. Theorists point to that, plus Taylor's instrument reports, and argue it points away from just a simple accident, maybe something the government doesn't want known.
Are there other examples they cite? Older ones?
Sometimes the USS Cyclops disappearance gets woven into this narrative. That was way back in 1918.
A huge ship, over 300 lost.
Exactly. And President Wilson apparently said something like, only God and the sea knew what happened. That kind of enigmatic statement fuels speculation about some ongoing pattern of silence from authorities regarding losses in that area.
So connecting older incidents to newer ones to suggest a pattern?
Precisely. And then you have the more extreme theories suggesting things like extraterrestrial activity.
Aliens using it as a portal, that kind of thing?
That's the idea some propose, yeah.
Yeah.
And that a cover-up exists to hide proof of alien contact or technology.
Okay, let's shift to motivations then. Assuming, for the sake of argument, there was a cover-up, why? Why would governments hide information about the Bermuda Triangle?
Well, from a national security perspective, think about it. Losing military assets like Flight 19 or a big ship like the Cyclops.
Especially if the reason is unknown or really unusual.
Exactly. That could look like a vulnerability. So hiding the true cause might be seen as necessary to maintain public confidence in the military, or maybe to keep potential weaknesses hidden from adversaries.
That makes sense. What about technology?
That's another angle. If any incidents involved, say, experimental aircraft or secret military tech.
They wouldn't want those details getting out.
Absolutely not. Protecting technological secrets would be a very strong motive for concealment.
Are there reasons beyond military or security concerns, maybe more about public perception?
It's definitely conceivable. Think about the panic if official sources confirmed explanations involving, supernatural forces or aliens.
Fast panic, economic disruption, maybe?
Potentially, yes. Governments generally prioritize order and providing rational, even if incomplete, explanations. Admitting something truly inexplicable happened could be seen as too destabilizing.
And the area is important for shipping and tourism, too, right?
Very significant. So if there were credible, persistent reports of truly unexplainable dangers, that could seriously hurt those industries. There might be pressure to downplay or suppress information that could scare people away.
Okay, those are some potential motives, but now it's crucial we look at the other side, the alternative, non-conspiratorial explanations. Let's start with the environment itself. What's the area like?
Well, the Bermuda Triangle region is known for its dynamic and often quite severe maritime weather.
Right. Hurricanes, obviously.
Hurricanes, tropical storms, but also these things called mesometeorological storms, basically. Sudden, violent, localized storms that can pop up quickly. Very dangerous for ships and planes.
What about rogue waves? You hear about those sometimes.
Rogue waves, exceptionally large, unexpected waves, are another theorized factor. They could certainly sink a ship. Linking them definitively to specific triangle incidents is hard, of course, without witnesses or wreckage analysis, but they're a known maritime hazard. And then there's the Gulf Stream.
A very strong current, right?
Incredibly strong, running right through the area. It could disperse any wreckage very quickly over vast distances.
Making recovery efforts really tough.
Extremely difficult. Add to that the underwater topography. You've got very deep trenches, complex seabed features. Finding anything down there is a massive challenge, even if you know roughly where to look.
So the environment itself presents major hazards and obstacles to investigation. What about navigation? Were there specific challenges, especially back then?
Historically, yes. There was a period where lines of magnetic variation, the difference between true north and magnetic north, converged in that area in a way that could, potentially, cause significant compass errors if navigators weren't meticulous about adjustments.
Is that still the case?
No, the magnetic field has shifted, so that specific alignment issue isn't really a factor today. But for historical incidents, it's something to consider, especially when navigational tools were less sophisticated.
And some pilots have reported strange things, haven't they? Magnetic anomalies, weird clouds.
There are anecdotal accounts, yes. Bruce Gernon's experience in 1970 is probably the most famous. He described flying through a strange tunnel-like cloud formation and experiencing electronic and magnetic disturbances and apparent time distortion.
But those are largely unverified.
Largely anecdotal, yes. Interesting stories, but hard to substantiate scientifically or connect directly to the disappearances in a causal way.
Okay, let's talk about the more mundane but often most probable causes. Human error and equipment failure.
Absolutely critical factors in most transportation accidents, and official inquiries often point to these. Take Flight 19 again. Lieutenant Taylor reporting compass issues, yes. But some analyses suggest other factors might have been at play. He arrives late for the briefing, maybe didn't review the flight plan thoroughly, he got disoriented.
And the trainees with him might not have questioned him.
Possibly. Being trainees, they might have deferred to their experienced flight leader, even if they had doubts. Plus, remember the aircraft themselves, 1940s technology. Navigational aids were much less reliable than today.
What about the rescue plane, the Mariner?
Well, the Martin Mariner aircraft had a known, unfortunate reputation. They were sometimes called flying gas tanks. They carried a lot of fuel. And there were instances of catastrophic explosions linked to fuel vapor issues.
So its disappearance might have been completely unrelated to whatever happened to Flight 19?
It's a plausible, if tragic, explanation, yes. A mechanical failure specific to that aircraft type.
And the older cases, like the Cyclops?
With the USS Cyclops, it was carrying a very heavy cargo manganese ore. Heavy cargo can shift, affecting stability. Plus, reports suggest one of his engines was out of service.
Making it more vulnerable.
Potentially, yes. Vulnerable to bad weather or even just structural stress. It might have simply broken up or capsized.
And other planes, like those BSAA flights, the Star Tiger and Star Ariel?
Those British South American Airways planes disappeared in the late 1940s. They were operating right at the edge of their maximum range.
Not much room for error, then.
Very little. A minor navigational mistake, unexpected headwinds, a small equipment issue, any of those could have been fatal when you have minimal fuel reserves over a vast ocean.
Okay, one final area we need to touch on is how the story itself got built. Inaccurate reporting, maybe even myth-making.
That's a really important point, yes. Some researchers argue strongly that the whole mystery has been significantly inflated.
How so?
Through sensationalism, basically. Exaggerated accounts, inaccuracies creeping into retellings over the years. Also, including incidents that didn't even happen within the commonly defined triangle boundaries.
Can you give an example?
Well, there's the story of the Rosalie. Supposedly, a ghost ship found adrift in the triangle. Most serious researchers consider that story entirely fictional. A piece of maritime folklore.
Okay. Any others?
The Mary Celeste is often brought up in connection with the triangle.
The famous ghost ship, yeah.
But it was found abandoned way over by the Azores, hundreds, thousands of miles east of the triangle. It has nothing to do with the area, but it gets lumped in sometimes to bolster the mystery.
So cherry-picking incidents and ignoring geography.
Sort of, yeah. or presenting disappearances within that specific zone without comparing the loss rates to other equally busy, equally hazardous shipping lanes around the world.
Which brings us to the skeptical viewpoints. What
Right.
do organizations like the Coast Guard say?
Well, the U.S. Coast Guard, and also major marine insurers like Lloyd's of London, have consistently stated that they don't see a statistically higher number of losses in the Bermuda Triangle compared to other heavily trafficked ocean areas.
So, volume of traffic might explain the number of incidents?
That's their position. More ships and planes mean more opportunities for accidents, unfortunately. They generally attribute the incidents to known causes: storms, navigational errors, mechanical failures, human mistakes, not to mysterious forces or cover-ups.
Okay, so wrapping this up, in our deep dive today into this hypothesis of government concealment around the Bermuda Triangle, we've looked at the claims, the missing evidence, the alleged suppression. We've considered why a government might want to hide something.
And we've weighed all that against the counter-arguments, the environmental factors, the navigational issues, human error, equipment problems.
And importantly, the role of how the story itself might have been shaped or exaggerated over time.
Right. And looking at the information available, it seems that while the disappearances are certainly tragic, and in some cases lack that final definitive explanation.
Which keeps the mystery alive.
It does. But the bulk of the evidence seems to point toward the mix of these natural and human factors, things amplified by the sheer difficulty of searching that vast, challenging ocean environment.
So the idea of a deliberate, ongoing government cover-up of something truly extraordinary.
It seems to lack solid, robust evidence, at least based on the sources we've examined today. The more conventional explanations, while maybe less exciting, appear more likely for the majority of cases.
It really raises an interesting question, though, doesn't it? When we face the unknown, how do we balance plausible explanations against these more extraordinary claims? And how much does our fascination with mystery itself color how we see these events?
That's a great point to ponder. Our desire for answers, especially dramatic ones, can be very powerful.
Thanks for listening to Conspiracist.